What's up? This is Chris. Welcome to Daily Art Day 2831. Awesome number. Got a different setup. Here I am over here. Whoa, look at my eye. I want to talk to you today about a really awesome exercise. Exercise 11 in The Natural Way to Draw by Kimon Nicolaides. And it's called the reverse gesture. This is basically, in my brain, because this takes a lot of brain power, is I kind of describe it as a mirror gesture, because when I think about it that way, when I think about the mirror aspect, it just works with my brain better, and you really have to kind of get across this idea of drawing something completely different than what you're used to. So as you see, I got my newsprint pad here. I got my what is this? Conte of Paris 1710B. Doesn't really matter. You can use anything. Charcoal, whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's gestures, whatever you love. This kind of thing. And I have an image of a little kid just sitting in a chair there. This is I think it's from a stock photograph or just something I pulled off the internet. Wonderful resources on the internet for photos, especially during COVID-19 right now. You can't get out and get in front of people, this kind of thing. You could have a huge mirror and draw yourself, but it gets a bit boring. It's kind of nice to do different things. But let's get back to the reverse gesture. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually draw a gesture, 3 minutes. I'm not going to time it. 3-minute gesture, but I'm going to do it reverse of what I see. And this is where the brain comes in, right? And I'll give an example of this. So if I was to draw this gesture of this kid normally, so here's what he would look like. Head, shoulders. He's got this big floofy jacket on. See, and this isn't too hard because exactly what I see, the angles I see, this kind of thing, just really quickly. Trying to get the big shapes in. Here's his arm out here. His head's actually bigger than that. Kids have larger heads, really big foreheads compared to anything else. That's how they look like children. They have a really big forehead. If you put a really large forehead on an adult, they'll look a lot younger. And if you put lines in the face of a kid, they'll look a lot older. So that's a really quick gesture of what he looks like when I see him. But with the reverse gesture exercise, I'm going to gesture this in 3 minutes. 3 minutes. But I'm going to do it in reverse, in a mirror aspect. So let's do that. And this is where the brain kind of comes in. So I know that his head's going to be facing the other way. So I'm going to do the back of his head, comes down in a slope. Here's the front of his head. And for some reason, whenever I do these reverse gestures, they tend to get bigger, for me. It's how, I guess, I deal with the difference in it. This is the most wonderful thing about this exercise, is it gets you out of just copying the surface. You have to really think about the form. How is his coat coming down there in reverse? I mean, it's going off this way rather than that way. The V is completely different in that aspect. So this shoulder goes there, reverse, mirror. However you need to get your brain around this. I like to use those big angles. So I know that his hand is coming way out here. Oh, geez. How does the hand go? See, man, my brain is really working. Plus, I'm trying to talk to you doing this. This is difficult. Wow, what a challenge. Okay, so look at the big angle. Don't look at the folds in the jeans. Just look at that angle of the legs. So, and what's the opposite that it goes in? So the quad there that he's got goes more to the back of the head, closer to that side, and then this goes up, the bottom of his forearm goes up, there's that, and then there's a taper always at the bottom of the calf, his hand goes over his ankle, and then his foot's coming out. And see, I'm not worried about proportion or anything here. I'm just trying to get my brain around the form. You know, what's the mirror of that angle? So I'm seeing it, like for instance, the bottom of his pant leg is going this way, at this angle, but I don't need, the mirror of it is at a different angle, so I have to notice that. And within 3 minutes, you have to be able to do it quickly. His foot is facing the other way, you know, this kind of thing. So there's a lot of proportion issues. I mean, this to go further down, his whole body's a bit different in that case, but that's not a problem because that's not what we're doing this for. It's all about a different way of looking at form, a different way of stretching your brain so that you're out of this comfort zone of drawing exactly what you see and worrying completely about the surface. Let's get out of our comfort zones. Let's try something new and different. And that's one thing I love about The Natural Way to Draw by Kimon Nicolaides is all the exercises he has, he gets you away from doing the norm. He challenges you in new and different ways. Reverse gestures, get the book. I can grab the book so you can see it. I got it way over here. Sorry about that. And the most wonderful thing about this book is it's online for free. You can get a digital copy anywhere. Just look it up. Nicolaides, A Natural Way to Draw. And literally, you could spend a year on this because there are 25 sections. And all the sections look like this, right? They got this schedule of exercises, this table. And it goes A, B, C, D, and E. There's 5 hours for each column. So A has 5 hours of work. This is the very last one. You can see I'm that far into the book. So it's going to take me a while. And I'm just working my way through it. And, you know, I don't do 5 hours of exercises straight. I dropped my pencil there. Hopefully I didn't break the lead. So what I'll do, is, hopefully you could see this, is like with Schedule A here, I got a check mark next to it. One day, you know, one day I'll spend on Schedule A, number 1 exercise. And then next day I'll go to the next. The next day I'll go to the next. Makes the book take a lot longer. You know, I'm not going to spend 5 hours on this one thing. But it's not about getting through it. It's not about finishing the book, getting in, you know, assimilating all of the data here. It's the same thing with art. It's about the journey, right? It's about loving it as you go through it. Don't worry about just getting it done. I mean, that's one of the issues with normal schooling. If you figure you go through 4 years of school, you get out and you're going to know everything. Well, that's not the case. You know, it just prepares you to really get moving, you know, this kind of thing. So I suggest getting the book if you really want to break out of your comfort zone, do something completely different, expand your brain in new and different ways, get in touch more with your sensations, your internal sensations, and not just, you know, copying the surface, but actually trying to draw and paint what you think and communicate. That's what the book's all about. He's basically, Kimon Nicolaides is basically a student of Robert Henri. The Art Spirit is another wonderful book. So it is the workbook for that book in my aspect. So that's one of those exercises, exercise 11. Another thing I want to say, this is a long one. Whoa, we're at 9 minutes already. See, I'm in section 13. I'm up to exercises, what was the latest exercise I did? 31. So I'm already up to exercise 31, but he constantly goes back and has you repeat exercises. I mean, this is exercise 11, so you repeat. How do you learn something? You do it over and over again. You know, you don't just do it once and then you know it. I mean, every single time I do one of these exercises, I learn a little bit more about myself. Not only about how to do it or a bit of different way of doing it, but a bit more about myself. So there you go. I highly recommend the book. Thanks for joining me on these hopefully short videos. This one's about 10 minutes long. But anyway, I'll see you next video. Until then, keep creating.